There are two versions of the code, and I'm going to show you both of those on this chart. The first one is a volume histogram, and it's listed under better volume. You can add that there. And it also comes in a paint bar version, which I can show you here, better volume PB. So those are the two indicators on the chart. You can also make an analysis group of the two indicators, so you can add them to any chart. You do that by save analysis group, and then let's call this better volume. Click OK, and then we can remove these two indicators and then add them on a chart by going right click, insert analysis techniques, and hopefully be able to see that better volume. Click OK, and it adds the two indicators to a chart. Okay, so the better volume indicators are trying to identify 5 different volume conditions. The first one is climax volume up. The second one is climax volume on down bars. The third condition is high volume churn. You can also get climax bars that are also high volume churn bars, so that's the fourth condition. And then the fifth condition are low volume bars. Now I can show you some of the inputs to the indicators. So if we look at the better volume format inputs, you can see that you can select each of those 5 conditions with a true-false input to show those conditions on the different price bars. So we've got volume, low volume, climax volume up, climax volume down, high volume churn, and then climax churn. So you have a climax bar that's also a high churn bar. So we can set those to either true or false. We can also change the colors of each of those conditions. So in this case, I'm using yellow for low volume bars, red for climax volume up bars, right for climax volume down bars. High volume churn is green on the histogram. I actually use blue on the paint bar as well, and then magenta for the climax high volume churn bars. Now, in the code, there's a look-back period to figure out which bars are significant. I use just a standard kind of cycle setting of 20 bars, but you can change that to make the indicator more or less sensitive. There's also a setting to use uptick data if it is available. So that's where there's the up volume and the down volume data on a chart. Some data streams within TradeStation, that data appears to be incorrect, and so you can override the use of that calculation and just go with the open, high, low, close, and total volume alternate calculations that's used for daily and weekly bars. I'm also using single bar and 2 bar combinations. So for example, if you're looking for low volume bar, it could be a single low volume bar that's the lowest bar in the last 20 bars, or it could also be the lowest 2 bar combination in the last 20 bars. So if you don't like to use 2 bar combinations, again, you can just turn that to false and that'll override that input. The default color on the histogram is cyan. There's also an average which is shown. You can turn the average on and off, and then the average line default color is red, and again you can change that as you see fit. Okay, so I'm just going to close up these windows. If we look at this E-mini 5-minute chart in a little bit more detail, we can see all the data that's available over the last couple of days. You can see that volume climax up bars happen in a number of places. First of all, the beginning of up moves are often signaled by a volume climax up bar. We also find that at the top of moves we get volume climax up bars. Similarly here we got volume climax up bars and another one here. And then in the middle of downtrends, we also find these volume climax up bars that are signaling exhaustion points in the middle of a downtrend. The reverse is true for volume climax down bars in yellow. So we can see the beginning of a down move is often signaled with a volume climax down bar here. The end of moves are often signaled by volume climax down bars. You can see another one here. And again, midway through up moves, so in continuations, we often find some exhaustion here on volume climax down bars that signal reversal points in an uptrend. Then if we look at high volume churn bars, these often occur at market bottoms and market tops. So we've got at this bottom in the market here, we've got a high volume churn bar that signals the bottom of that move. There's also one there and one there. Effectively, that's profit taking that's happening at these points, and then we finally get some exhaustion here, final profit taking, and we move up. It also happens at top, so we've got at the end of the day here, we've got high volume churn happening there. We've got high volume churn happening at the bottom of this bar as well. So volume churn, high volume churn shows where there's profit taking by professionals and potentially the reversal of a trend move. The magenta bars that you can see here and then here as well are just showing where we have volume climax up bars that are also high volume churn bars. And again, so we're finding at the top there the volume climax and high volume churn happening together. Similarly, it seems to be happening there at this low level here. Lastly, on the low volume bars shown in yellow, those often happen at market bottoms or market tops, at kind of exhaustion, if you like. We can see at the bottom here there's a lack of supply, so there's a lack of sellers at that point. We have some low volume bars, the market reverses. Similarly, at this point here, there's a lack of buyers, lack of demand at this point, low volume bars, and the market goes in the opposite direction. You can also see some of those patterns not only at tops and bottoms, but also in continuation moves. So at the top of this slight retracement in this downtrend, we can see that low volume bar signaling there's a lack of demand, and the market continues down. There are a couple of tweaks worth remembering when using the better volume indicators. I think I ought to point out. The first one is when you set up the settings for this, I wouldn't suggest having the indicators update intra-bar, so I never tick this bar. I find that the calculations sometimes get a little bit confused, and you might end up with the wrong bar coloring by the end of a bar when a bar closes by ticking that, so I always leave that unticked. The second trick worth mentioning is, instead of selecting just a straight daily chart for the data, you can get some additional data in terms of the up volume and down volume data by selecting intraday and then calling up a 1440 minute bar chart. There are 1440 minutes in 24 hours, and that version of the chart will also give you the up volume and down volume data for the E-mini. Okay, so now the better volume indicators work on all time frames and all different charts. I'm going to show you a couple of different examples. The next chart to look at is a tick bar chart of the E-mini. So this is a 699 tick bar chart, which happens to be kind of a medium-term day trading chart format that I use. And again, if we go to Insert, Analysis Group, select Better Volume, click OK, you can see that the calculations are still made based on what the volume is doing. So we get climax volume up bars, climax volume down bars, high volume churn at these high and low points, and we also get low volume bars. There's a low volume bar at the bottom here, at this top, into this little pullback here, and so on. It's also worth noting that because we're looking at tick bars, this better volume, the height of that histogram on a tick bar chart actually calculates the average trade size for each of those bars. So there's more information about that on the E-mini Watch website, but it's something I think is quite important to note. Next chart, if we go to this FX chart of the euro versus the US dollar, 60-minute chart. Now, again, we can go Insert, Analysis Group, Better Volume, and so on, and things will look very strange. But that's because with FX data, we're not given volume data, and as a proxy, what we use is tick volume. So you go to Format Symbol and choose Tick Count, and all of a sudden the calculations happen per normal, and we can see we've got a usual kind of better volume indicator and paint bar here. So we've got high volume churn bars, high volume climax up bars. I don't see any low volume bars on this chart. There's one there, maybe a few there. So remember to select under the format symbol setting the tick count for volume instead of volume, because there is no volume data available. And then lastly, let's choose a weekly chart of a stock. This is Apple. Again, insert the analysis group, better volume, click OK, and there we have the volume histogram and the paint bar here, and you can see there's a beautiful low volume bar at this top showing a lack of demand. Then we go into volume climax down bar for the beginning of this move and the end of this move. We then go here into high volume churn at this bottom, showing that the professionals are getting ready to go long. We get the start of this up move with a volume climax up move all the way up. There again, we've got another series of low volume bars at the top of that move showing lack of demand. We've got some more here at the top of that move showing lack of demand, and the market falls away. So the better volume indicators are working nicely on both E-minis, futures, FX, and stocks.